So, there are numerous software tools out there to help systems and network administrators to effectively manage information systems resources. It is essential that enterprise information systems be simulated, such as using VMware and Packet Tracer professional software in the planning phase to ensure successful rollout of projects. One critical software tool I will recommend in information systems of an enterprise is the iLex config. So this tutorial is dedicated to the introduction of iLex config. iLex config is a specialized tool that makes it easy to configure network devices and also create scripts for bulk user creations in an Active Directory. All right, so I will show you the interface of iLex config. So I've already installed the software tool on my system. So you'll see an icon like this, which says iLex config. So you open it. So when you open it, this is the interface of iLex config. This version is version 1.1. All right, okay. So when you look at the interface of the system, you'll see the main menu here, which consists of the project, and then under the project, you see manage, and then you have device configurations. And also, you also have DSADD user script. So, as the name suggests, it creates scripts using DSADD commands. All right, we also have commands. The commands we have device type and then devices. So it means that you can assign commands to specific device types and then devices. We also have options menu, which has the interface, device, command, success rate, and preferences. So all these are features that help iLex Coffee to be able to um, undertake and then complete its role successfully. So we have interface that is the interfaces for network devices. For instance, we have if you have a switch, okay, switch most of them have how do you call it ports. We have port 1 out to 24, fast Ethernet, and then we also have Giga Ethernet 1 and 2. So use this feature to define all those spots or all those interfaces. All right, so we also have device, and then this is where you create device types. So we have device types like routers, switches, hubs, and the rest, you know. And then we have the name. The name, for instance, if you take Tasmania as an example, and you have a company called, let's say, A, all right, and then you define a network device type like router, you also need to define the actual or the real device. Okay, so maybe Tasmania is having a router called the gateway, the gateway to Tasmania, all right, the Tasmania network for that company, all right. So we can have a main router or gateway for Tasmania for that company. All right, so after doing that, then we use the interfaces that we created here and assign them to the devices. So we use this to do that. All right, so we also have the commands. The commands. So we have command. Commands, they are statements that's understood by devices or device types. So sometimes it's easier to group them or to put them in groups. Most of the commands contribute to a specific task. So it's advisable to group those commands so that they can apply it easily to devices. So you can create device type group commands, and you can also create device group commands. All right, so like a heading and those commands. All right, and then we have success rate here. This one has got to deal with the script generation. Yeah. So the script generation, we'll get to that. We'll talk more about that. If you want to make uh, you have a higher successful rate for your generations, then you need to increase certain parameters. So this is what the success rate is for. And then we also have preferences. The preferences is where when you click it, when you open it, you see various configurations that can be set to be used by the system. All right. So starting from here, LOV, that is list of values, and OU, that is organizational units option. So here we have two options for you to set. We have the loud form opacity. So you can either decrease the opacity for the loud form or increase it. So you can either decrease or increase the opacity. It depends on you. Sometimes when you want to search for an item and you have the LOV form or X, you can't see what is beneath it. So then you have to decrease it so that the opacity will not be too much, so that you can see through. And then we also have OU path option. So this one is used in the script generation. If you choose multiple OS paths, it means that we are going to create users. We are going to use the script to create users in multiple OUs. Okay, so you can have about 100 users, and you have 30 of them going into a particular organizational unit, and then the others they also have their own OU path. Okay, and then we also have single OU. That means the script that we are going to generate is going to create users in the same OU. So it has only one OU path. That is why we call it single OU path. All right. And then we have configuration here. This is just some information about the configuration when you are configuring devices. So we have the stakeholders, we have the owners, we have the creator, we have the supervisor, and then we have the mode. This is the selection mode. Whenever you are selecting commands, you have the option to select from single, group, or mix commands to apply to your devices. You understand this well once we start creating projects and applying commands to devices and all that. And then the next on the list is domain. Of course, you have to set your domain. So, for instance, here we have iLex and then div. So, iLex is the second level domain, and then the div is the top level domain. So, we have the domain here, ilex.div. So, you need to set that in order for iLex config to properly execute a task. All right, so under the accounts, we have the common name for the user. So these are some of the parameters. So name arrangement, we have two options here. So whether the first name comes first or the last name comes first, followed by the others. So you have to select one. And then we also have this one here, use standard characters. So it says this removes spaces, apostrophes, and hyphen from UPN and SAM ID. So this UPN and SAM ID, they are parameters need to be set whenever you are using the SADD command. So next on our list we have user. So this one means when you enable this, create in the user container. That means all the users are going to be created in the default container. All right. So it says this does not apply. This does not affect the multiple or you have Active Directory feature, of course, because we already know that the multiple or you have Active Directory feature enables us to create users in multiple OUs. All right, and then we also have organizational units for the user. So this means that the users going to be created are going to be put in a student OU, and then the student OU is in turn under the BUR organizational units, and you have to separate them by semicolon. So you can click on OU here, add. You can remove everything to by clicking this command. All right, some ID. This is very important. This is very, very important. So this specifies the security account manager name as the unique SAM account name for the user. So here we have a maximum length of 20 for Windows Server. For Windows servers, I think Windows Server 2022, it's the maximum length should be 20 years. All right, so you need to set that. And then we have the suffix length. The suffix length consists of only ones and zeros. This is used to mitigate duplicates in the system. So, for instance, if two people are having the same name and everything, um, and you choose two here, the first duplicate, the system is going to append 00 at the end of the line to form the SAM ID and then even the UPN. If you can go up to 5, all right? So if you choose, let's say, 1, that means it's going to take care of only 3 duplicates. So the more you increase it, the more duplicates the system can take care of. All right. Okay. And then we also have include parts of ID in some ID generation. So this one means that you are going to include parts of the ID, the user's ID, in the some ID generation. So for instance, it says length of ID, just a guide. So you can say if your ID or your IDs, they're up to like 8 characters, and then you click here, and then it says the nth character to start with. So we are going to take a portion out from the ID to form the sum ID. So we are going to start from character say 1 or character 2 or character 4. After that, then we say you click on this command, and then it's a number of characters to include. So you can choose to include. So based on the length of the ID, the system has given you possibilities. All right. So it says you can add 1 character portion from the ID. or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So meaning that we are going to take 5 characters from the ID to form, starting from character 4 to form parts of the stamp ID. I think it's a bit confusing, but as you use it, you become more familiar with it. Yeah. Then it comes to the password. The password is the default password iLex Dolphin is going to use for all the users. And you understand this one. Must change password after first login, and password never expires. All right. We go to geographic. That's the office, department, and then the description. All right. So you can say that if you like. Next, we go to studies. So the user account expires. So when do you want this users to be expired? The user's account to be expired. So we have this number of days, or you can set it to never. Okay. If you set it to never, then it means that all the accounts or all the users you are going to create, they are never going to be expired. So you need to be very careful when selecting never. All right, and then we have account disabled. You can also check or enable that. Then we have the groups, that's the member of. So all the users we are going to create, they belongs to the group this, and this common name, the group, is in groups OU. So you can say that you can add more to it. You can say the group's OU is in, let's say, AD. All right, and then you click OK, and it's going to append or separate them with a semicolon. All right. Okay, so I will take this one off. And then we have the last one here, which says OU path. See, OU path allows the system to create user OU path, or to create group OU path, or to create the groups for each uh, user. So take note here that if the object to be created does not exist, an error message will be returned, and that is fine. Okay, if it's not created, it's not created. All right, but there is a hint here. It says all the above options need to be enabled to activate the multiple audio paths active directory feature. So all what it's saying is that in order to activate or enable the feature that generates scripts for users to be created in multiple OUs, you need to enable all of these. If you don't, then it will not create all those paths for you. Alright, so you can click cancel. Alright, so we go to roadmaps. Roadmaps, we have device configuration. Let's start with that. So this one, you know what a roadmap is? A guide or something like that. So we have device type. Device type, you first create a device type, and from it you can create a device. So a device type and device, you can create commands or assign commands to them. So we have device type commands assigned to the device type. And these commands can come from group commands, or it can come from single commands. The same applies to devices. So you can apply device command to the device. And the device command can either come from group and single commands. And as I told you earlier, the interfaces, devices, you can assign interfaces to the devices. Okay, and the devices, the interface, device interfaces are coming from the interface feature. So from device, then you can create a project, and the project will make use of parameters from the preferences. All right. So after you create a project, then you configure the device. So you have project configuration. So project configuration, you either pick command from device type or command from device. And then after you have completed assigning all the commands, then you generate what we call the device configuration file. So this file, you can save it and then apply to a network device in Packet Tracer. All right, so you click on it to close, and then you go to the user script roadmap. So this is the user script roadmap. We have two options, as I told you. We have the single audio path and then the multiple audio path. So all of them, they go through the same process, but they work differently. So the first is importing the users, and then when the Excel file is loaded, you select the sheet name where the information is. So from that, the system will load the information into the system, and then you click on generate script. So when you click on generate script, your script will either be generated or there will be a failure. So whenever there's a failure, you need to do three things under the success rate. So we have what we call the success rate. What you do is that firstly, you increase the sum ID maximum length, as I told you initially. The second one is the suffix, as I told you initially. And then the last one is including a portion of the ID in the sum ID. And in so doing, you need to increase the portion of ID in the sum ID. So you include the portion and then you increase the portion. And these are the three main factors that affect the success rate of the generation. So after doing that, then you go back and try again. And then you save the script either to a text file or to a batch file. The batch file can be used on AD to create the users. All right, so we click it, and then we go to wizard. All right, so this is the wizard. So as a new user, you need some form of guidance, for you to be able to use the system efficiently. So you start the wizard, okay, and then you have a choice here. So you pick a choice from two. The first one is device configuration. The second one is AD user space. So when you pick it, it comes here. The first one, device configuration. You have to define or select a device type. After that, you have to select the device because there are so many devices under that particular device type. So you select the device type and select the device. After that, you need to create a project. So in the project, you assign commands in singles or groups to the device. Then after that, you save the device configuration file, as I told you earlier, to a text file. And that text file can be applied to network devices like routers, switches, hubs in packet tracer, or even real devices. Okay, and then you end. The wizard will ask if you want to perform another task. You come back to start again. Then you pick what you want to do. This time around, you're going to pick the second one, AB user specs. And from there, you have two options to choose from. So the first one, as I said, is to pick from single OU path or from multiple OU path. So depending on that, it will take you through the right form for you to generate the scripts. So they all go through the same process, but they work differently. So the generate scripts is like this. So you review the user Excel file requirements using the help me. So the help me is a command button located in the upper right corner of the phone. So after you do that, you make sure you prepare or format your Excel file nicely, and then you import the file, and then you select the sheet name, and then you click on generate. So in the same way um, as we went through, so it's the same thing. All right. Okay. Then we go to auto. So you click on it to close. You go to automate. So from here, whenever you want to use a wizard, you come to automate and then use it. Then it opens for you. All right. And then we go to help. So you can have tutorials in PDF. We have online video tutorials. We have download the latest tutorials, and we have the about me. All right. And we have this status bar or panel here. This one is project configuration, and this is the generation of user script. I think this one is the preferences, and this one is the wizard. So these are the most commonly used features of iLex config. All right, so I've talked to you about um, the interface of iLex config. Next, we will go through the roles of the two software too.